Commander ZYXTH adjusted the crystalline neural interface behind her cranial ridge, the bioluminescent patterns across her scaled skin flickering in agitation. The massive view screen of the Dominion vessel Nexus Prime displayed an impossible sight. 17 metallic ships arranged in perfect formation, their hulls bearing symbols that matched ancient pictographs from the Forbidden Archives. "Impossible," whispered Navigation Officer Kren, his forearms trembling as he operated the sensor array. "The quantum signatures. They're using fusion drives. Primitive fusion drives." For 3 millennia, the Zephyrian Dominion had ruled this sector of the galaxy. Their biotechnology was supreme. Ships grown from engineered coral that could heal battle damage, weapons that manipulated spacetime itself, and consciousness transfer technology that made death merely an inconvenience. They had encountered hundreds of species, absorbed their knowledge, and cataloged their remains in vast digital museums. But humans? Humans were mythology. "Sir," reported communications specialist Thyra, her tentacles dancing across the bioneural console. "They're broadcasting on electromagnetic frequencies. Extremely crude, but the mathematical constants are correct. Pi, the golden ratio, prime number sequences." ZYXTH's secondary hearts began beating faster. Every Zephyrian child knew the legend of the ghost species. Beings who supposedly lived on a small blue world in the outer rim, who had somehow mastered interstellar travel despite being biological rather than cybernetic, mortal rather than consciousness-backed. The stories claimed they built machines instead of growing them, that they fought wars over abstract concepts rather than resources, that they aged and died in less than a single Zephyrian lunar cycle. Pure fiction. Entertainment for juveniles. "Defensive positions," ZYXTH commanded, though her voice carried uncertainty. The Dominion fleet, 43 vessels of pure organic technology, repositioned themselves, their living hulls rippling with anticipation. The lead human vessel, an angular construct of metal and ceramic composites, transmitted a message. The translation matrix struggled with the primitive signals, but eventually produced readable text on their bioscreens. "This is Admiral Elizabeth Morrison of the United Earth Fleet. We seek peaceful contact and trade relations. We offer mathematical knowledge, artistic works, and technological exchange." "Admiral," Kren's voice cracked. "They have military hierarchies, like the ancient texts described." ZYXTH studied the tactical display. The human ships were laughably primitive, metal hulls that couldn't self-repair, chemical-based propulsion systems, electromagnetic communication that could be intercepted across light years. Yet something about their formation spoke of competence, of beings who had crossed the vast emptiness between stars in these crude vessels. "Sir," Thyra's voice was barely audible. "Long-range sensors are detecting additional fleets. Dozens of them. They're everywhere. Human colonies on Class M worlds throughout the outer rim. Massive orbital stations. They've been expanding for centuries, and we never knew." The implications crashed over ZYXTH like a tidal wave. While the Dominion had been perfecting their biotechnology, growing ever more complex and refined, these mythical humans had been quietly spreading across the galaxy in their simple metal ships. How had they remained hidden? How had they survived without cybernetic enhancement, without consciousness transfer, without the biological mastery that defined advanced civilization? "Ma'am," Kren reported, his voice steady despite the magnitude of his discovery. "I'm reading massive industrial signatures from their vessels. They're not just exploration ships, they're mobile factories. They're building more ships, more stations, more colonies as they travel." Admiral Morrison's next transmission carried a different tone. "We know you've been watching us. We've been watching you too. Our artificial intelligences have been studying your biosignatures for decades. We come in peace, but we come prepared. Perhaps it's time our species met officially." ZYXTH stared at the primitive human fleet, realizing that everything the Dominion thought they knew about technological evolution was wrong. These beings had chosen a different path, crude perhaps, but undeniably effective. They had turned their mortality into motivation, their limitations into innovation. "Open a channel," she commanded finally. "It appears we have much to learn from our fictional friends." As the first formal contact between human and Zephyrian began, neither species could predict how this meeting would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The age of Dominion supremacy was ending, not with conquest, but with the discovery that the greatest technological achievement might simply be survival itself.